Hello, and welcome to Poole Jackson Insurance Talk, the show that helps you become insurance savvy. I'm Val Lee, and today we're talking with Karen Nelson, Office Manager and Sales Director for the Poole Jackson Insurance Agency. In today's episode, we're going to talk about some common insurance questions, like what you can do if you're having trouble getting paid on a claim, and finding out how you can reduce your insurance bill. You're going to want to listen all the way into the end so you don't miss out. Thank you for being here, Karen. Now, let's start off by asking a little bit about you. Can you tell us how long you've been in the insurance industry?
I've been in the insurance agency for 22 years this month.
Wow, 22 years is a long time, Karen. So clearly you are well qualified and have a lot of experience and knowledge. So we're excited that you're here and we're eager to learn from what you have to share with us today. For the benefit of those who are listening in for the first time or those who have listened before but it's just not clear, can you tell us exactly what type of agency is Poole Jackson?
Poole Jackson Agency is an independent agency located in Southfield, Michigan.
Some of our listeners probably have heard that term before many times, but may not have any idea as to exactly what an independent agency is. So would you do us a favor and just break that down for us?
An independent agent is an agent that is admitted by different carriers, so therefore we're able to write for several carriers.
Thanks for explaining that so well. Now, let's go a little further. So, what makes Poole Jackson different from, say, a State Farm agency or a AAA agency? Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Again, an independent agent is allowed to write for several different carriers versus a captive agent like Allstate or State Farm that is only allowed to write for that specific carrier.
It's safe to say that many people consider insurance to be a necessary evil. It's a topic that when most people hear that word, they usually have some sort of story or complaint. So, can you tell us, Karen, what the most common complaint is that you get from customers when they call you or when they contact you?
I'd have to say that the most common complaint from a customer, believe it or not, you would think it would be price, but the most common complaint is actually uh, the customer looking for a better relationship with the agent. An agent that is more responsive to their needs, and an agent that they can reach when they need to speak to someone and to be able to speak to the same person.
If we were to poll our listeners right now, most of them, and we would ask them, well, what is the time that is the most frustrating for you? I'm sure that that response is going to be when they get that renewal bill, be it in the mail or be it email, and the rate is higher than what it was last time. So, do you have any advice for someone who is not happy with what they're paying right now? What would you recommend that they do?
The advice that I would give to someone who is not happy with their rate is to first off just speak to your agent. Let your agent know that you're unhappy with your rate, and then have the agent to make sure that you are receiving all the discounts that are available to you, and then to maybe just redo the rate for you and see if we come up with a different result.
It is common knowledge that Michigan is notoriously and historically one of the most expensive states for insurance nationwide. So, with that said, many Michiganders are very frustrated as to what they're paying for insurance. And you touched on a little bit with that last question, but can you go a little further and explore the other ways that people can reduce their premiums and save money?
If you're looking to save on your auto insurance, there's a couple things you can do. First off, you need to know if you're carrying full coverage on a vehicle, you need to know what the value of that vehicle is, because the amount that you're paying for full coverage versus the amount that the insurance company would pay you in the event of a total loss is important. We don't try to um, discourage or dissuade or anything. That's just something that, just being a savvy customer that you should know. And then also know that with each vehicle, if you have vehicles that you don't drive often, then with most companies, there's a way that you can lower the rate by there may be a storage rate that you can use for some vehicles.
Without a doubt, Karen, throughout your 20 years of the being in the industry, you've helped many customers save money on their insurance. So can you describe the biggest insurance savings that you've ever achieved? Can you tell us about that?
I don't know the exact amount that I've been able to save a customer, but that amount can grow into the thousands because over the years I've run into customers that they have a grandfathered in rate. They never check to see if they were to just be requoted how much money they could actually save. The rates and the through the company that they were originally written through and the discounts there just might not be most effective for today's situation. So it's always good to if not every year, but every couple of years, just always have your rate redone and just have someone to look at it, look at your household situation versus the coverages that you're carrying and make sure everything still really applies. Be surprised at how much money you could actually save.
So far, our questions have mainly focused on car insurance, but we know that there's some listeners out there that may be homeowners too. So, can you tell us whether you sell homeowners insurance at Poole Jackson, as well as any other products that you have to offer? Can you tell us about that?
Most of the conversation has been about auto insurance, but just to let you know that Poole and Jackson, we do offer home insurance as well. And home insurance could be for a primary home, for a rental home, for a condominium that you live in or rent out. And it can also be for renters insurance that will cover your belongings. All that is considered home insurance. And we do have several carriers. And as a matter of fact, we do have some excellent rates at this time. So I encourage you to uh, give Poole and Jackson a call, have me look into what you're currently paying, or even if you don't have insurance, if you're just looking to get some, I can definitely do a rate for you and see where you land.
Now, let's dive in a little bit more about homeowners. If you are a homeowner, what kinds of discounts are available?
And with home insurance, there there are many discounts. But the largest discounts that just jump out at me are the construction of the home, whether or not the home is brick or if it's framed with siding when the home was built. Second, of course, is the age of the roof on a home because the roof does determine a lot of the claims that are filed is usually due to a worn roof or roof that has had damage or just some issues with the roof, maybe a tree being too close to the home or that. So though if you have a newly installed roof, there's usually a huge discount that goes along with that. And then also the claim-free discount, the number of years that you go without filing a claim with your insurance company. With most carriers, there's a discount for that. So you always want to keep that in mind. Of course, file a claim if it's necessary. That's the reason that you have insurance. But just keep in mind the length of time that you go without filing a claim can just save you several dollars. So that's something to think about as well.
We are smack dab in the middle of spring, And springtime brings a lot of rain, which can cause flooding in the home, and in turn, of course, damage as a result. Is that covered under a homeowner's policy?
Just thinking of springtime, which is approaching, and springtime, of course, can cause flooding. And then the question, does home insurance cover flood damage? Most homeowners policies do not cover flood per se. You do have to have a separate policy to cover flood. And then there are two things. There's flood versus water backup. Flood is usually damage to a home that is due to water that gets in from above somehow, if it's for rain or if it's for some overflow or that usually will constitute what a flood is. And that coverage, like I said, is usually a separate policy and definitely a separate coverage. It's not normally included in a homeowner policy. Then that's versus water backup. A water backup is for damage for water that gets in and causes damage, and that is usually through the water that backs up through the drain. And that is generally from roots of trees that are in the drain or debris or just from overflow if there's an increased amount of water that is trying to drain and can't get out for whatever reason, and then it'll back up into the home, and that also carries a separate coverage. It usually comes in the form of a rider, and that's something that you can add to your homeowner's policy, but it does come with a rider, and there are several options, and you should always discuss that with your insurance agent.
Our next hot topic is on the subject of claims. I'm sure that many of those listening now have experienced where they were either denied payment on a claim or paid less than what they were expecting to get paid, or they may be going through something right now where they're having trouble getting paid on a claim. So, what can they do? What advice would you give them?
One of the common questions that we receive from customers is about a claim that they've had in the past where they had trouble getting that paid, or if they're involved in a claim right now, or the possibility of a claim. The thing that you have to remember is that the insurance agency in the office, we're responsible for the sales. And then there's a separate claim office that handles the claims and anything associated with it. But ever if you're having a problem and you're in the midst of a claim or you're trying to file a claim, you should always let your agent know. 'Cause your agent is able to be the go between you and then with your claim adjuster, whomever that may have been assigned to. And if it ever a decision has come down and you're not happy with that decision, know always that there's an appeals process with any claim, and it's usually something that you can have looked into if you don't agree with that. It's usually something that is time sensitive. So if a decision comes down and you're not happy with it, you'll have a certain amount of time with which that you can file an appeal, and that's always available to you.
That is some good advice that you provided, Karen. Thank you. And I'm sure our listeners will benefit from using that strategy as it relates to getting paid on a claim and getting paid what they feel like they deserve. Now, moving on to the last question is what makes Poole and Jackson different from the others? What makes Poole and Jackson stand out? Tell us about that.
At Poole Jackson, we pride ourselves on being the friendly agency, the neighborhood feel, someone that's easily approachable. We you to just reach out to us. Just even if you're not looking at the moment to get a quote, just reach out to us, have a conversation with us, be able to see our background, get a feel of our background, get a feel of the experience the agency has, and just see the products and services that we offer. We're happy to share that with you. But when the time does come that you're looking to get an insurance quote, uh, you'll feel comfortable about getting a quote with us. So we're, like I said, we're located in Southfield. We're a friendly neighborhood agency, and just give us a call, and we would be happy to work with you. And thanks for listening.
Knowledge is power. And Karen, you've empowered us by sharing your tips and strategies to help us to be more insurance savvy. Thank you again for sharing that valuable information with us. If you would like to contact Karen directly, you can call her at 248-443-0000 or go to the website at poolejackson.com. On behalf of Poole and Jackson Insurance, we would like to thank Karen Nelson and also our listeners. Thank you again for listening to Insurance Talk, and we look forward to next time.